Hello friends, welcome to a new episode of Dristhi IAS Editorial Analysis. In this editorial analysis, we do three things. First of all, we link the editorial to the UPSC syllabus. Secondly, we try to understand the key points of the editorial. And thirdly, if any key concepts have come in the editorial and are important from exam point of view, we also discuss them. So let us begin today's editorial analysis.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
We have taken today's editorial from the Hindu and it talks about the newly created National Recruitment Agency which has got the Union Cabinet's approval, and it says that a standardized recruitment test is an advance but more jobs are also needed. So let us look at its linkage with the syllabus. So we find that it links directly with GS paper 2 where we have government policies and interventions for development in various sectors and issues arising out of their design and implementation. Also, it links with the issues relating to development and management of education and human resources. So after establishing the linkage with the syllabus, now let us look at the key points of the editorial. So before moving on to the key points of the editorial, let us see what is this National Recruitment Agency, NRA. So this National Recruitment Agency will conduct a common eligibility test or CET for recruitment to various government jobs. And initially, it has been asked to conduct the CET for three sectors, which includes Railway Recruitment Board, Staff Selection Commission, and Institute of Banking Personnel Selection. So for these three agencies, the preliminary exam will be conducted by NRA, and the advanced levels when the candidates qualify the preliminary exam will be conducted by the respective agencies like the RRB, SSC or IBPS. Now this common eligibility test will be held separately for three levels, which is graduate, 12th pass and 10th pass, and also for the non-technical posts of the three agencies. And the examination will be conducted online twice a year and in 12 languages and will be based on a common curriculum. So it will save the candidates who are aspiring for these government jobs a lot of hardship, because first of all, it will be online, it will be twice a year. So a candidate will have two options to appear in a year, and it will also be in 12 languages, which will also make it easier for the candidates from the rural backgrounds to crack these exams. And most importantly, it will have a common curriculum. So it will also help the aspirants. Furthermore, the scores are going to be valid for a 3-year period and the students can write tests multiple times. That means there will be no limitation on the number of attempts and the best score will be taken into account. And according to the DOPT secretary, there are 1.25 lakh vacancies every year in Group B and C for non-gazetted officers, and almost 2.5 crore people apply every year for examinations to fill these vacancies. And right now they have to write multiple exams, and by one account there are around 50 recruitment exams held in a year, and the recruitment agencies are also 20 in number. So through this reform, the aim of the government is to streamline the government recruitment process. So now let us look at some more salient points of this new initiative by the government. So on 19th of August, the Union Cabinet has given its approval to set up NRA, and it was first proposed in the Union Budget of 2020. And this common eligibility test, which will be conducted by NRA, will be for all non-gazetted posts, which includes Group B and Group C, non-technical jobs. So here we should be clear about who is a gazetted officer. So a gazetted officer, in very simple understanding, is a person who can verify and attest documents. Though in 2014, the government has made self-attestation sufficient for various purposes, but still for some requirements, you need the attestation by a gazetted officer. And gazetted officer is a government servant who derives his or her service and recruitment condition from Gazette of India as per Article 309. That is why they are known as gazetted officers. Now the aim of the government behind this NRA is to streamline the government recruitment and to eliminate the multiple tests and save precious time as well as resources, both of the government as well as of the aspirants, and also to boost transparency in the government recruitment process. And this NRA will be a specialist body, and it will bring state-of-the-art technology as well as best practices in conduction of these exams, which will help in the overall improvement in the government processes as well as in government performance. Also, through this initiative, the government will also focus on enhancing the examination infrastructure, especially in the 117 aspirational districts. And the aim of the government is that the candidates will not be required to travel long distances to appear for government recruitment exams. It will be available in their nearest district. So this will be a big improvement and very helpful for the candidates coming from rural background, the women candidates, and candidates coming from socially and economically weaker backgrounds. So after this, let us look at the key points of the editorial. So the editorial says that a standardized recruitment test is an advance, but more jobs are also needed, and which is very true, as India is facing a crisis of growth without jobs. And the editorial says that the Union Cabinet's decision to create a national recruitment agency to conduct a screening examination for non-gazetted jobs is a welcome administrative reform measure, and it will eliminate the need for candidates to take separate examination of at least 3 agencies to begin with, which includes the Railway Recruitment Board, also known as RRBs, the Staff Selection Commission, SSC, and the Institute of Banking Personnel Selection, also known as IBPS. So these 3 agencies are being roped in for the initial level, where their preliminary exam will be common and it will be conducted by the newly formed NRA. Though the editorial also says that for some years, the railways has been using a lot of contractual labor in projects and services, but still, government system remains a major recruiter, and railways is one of the largest employer in India. And the railway minister, Shri Piyush Goyal, had told the parliament in March 2020 that 4 employment notifications for Group C employees in the ministry were issued in 2019 for almost 1.43 lakh posts. And these are the number of posts for which recruitment is done by the railways almost every year. So this is a huge number. And with the coming of NRA, this will help in lessening the burden of RRBs as well, at least as far as the preliminary exam is concerned. The editorial also lists some of the advantages that will accrue from this coming of NRA. So the NRA will approximately cover around 1.25 lakh jobs a year, which typically attracts about 2.5 crore aspirants. And the gains will be from a single examination, which will be offered at the district level and also in the regional language. So this will make the life easy for the aspirants, that they will not be required to sit for multiple exams at various locations which are far from their homes and in language which is alien to them. Also, another major feature of this NRA would be the opportunity given to the candidates to improve their performance, which will be only subject to age limits, as there will be no limitation on the attempts, and also a 3-year validity for their scores. And this will also help the candidates to give their best in the exam and not suffer from the anxiety of preparing for a year and then be dependent on their performance on a single day. So this will also help the aspirants. But the editorial says that the long-term relevance of such reforms will depend on the commitment of governments to raise the level of public employment and expand services to the public, both of which at present are low in India. And that is where the real challenge for the government lies. But still, it has to be seen as a positive step from the government. But the government also needs to look at the creation of jobs. The editorial says that while announcing the proposal for NRA in her budget speech, the Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, had said that NRA would be an independent, professional, specialist organization. And this is very important, that NRA has to live up to being independent, professional and specialist, because at times the government recruitments have come in the news for the wrong reasons. There have been scams related to government recruitments, and that is why the government had taken a decision to remove the interview process, which was subject to a lot of discretion and corrupt practices for some of the government posts at junior levels. So one of the things which the NRA will be transparency in government recruitment, and which is very much needed. The government would also emphasize on creating advanced online testing infrastructure in 117 aspirational districts, and many of which are in states with low social development indices. So this is also a very welcome initiative from the government, that it will focus on developing the testing infrastructure in aspirational districts which are lagging behind in the social development indicators. And the editorial also agrees that these are very good objectives which have been outlined by the government. But at the same time, it is relevant to point out that as a share of the organized workforce, the central government employment is declining. New posts by the central government are sanctioned periodically and a large number of vacancies remain unfilled. So this is also a matter of concern. More importantly, with a growing emphasis on transferring the core railway services to the private sector, there may be fewer government jobs on offer in the future. So these are all the challenges. But the government has also said that NRA can be made use of by the private sector as well and also by the state governments in their recruitment. But still, the government share in employment pie is on the decline. And the editorial says that the jobs under the center, which are predominantly in the railways and the defense sectors, they constitute around 14% of the public employment, and the rest falls within the purview of states. So the states have to be brought in the ambit of NRA, and they will also benefit by making use of the centralized recruitment systems which will be made available through NRA. And the editorial says that this kind of reform which has been brought in the government recruitments will need to have a wider reach to achieve scale, and it has to be marked by well-defined procedures, wide publicity and open competition, and which will do away with the discretion which has been the bane of government recruitment so far. And this discretion has been misused by various persons who have indulged in corrupt practices in government recruitments. Also, the editorial says that as a preliminary screening test, the NRA can potentially cut delays which are a familiar feature with the government, as well as boost transparency and enable wider access. Though it being online will pose a challenge to the rural candidates who might not be familiar with the online system of exam taking. So there the government will need to work extra hard to enable the rural background candidates to get familiarity with online system of exam taking, so that they are not put at a disadvantage as compared to their urban counterparts in these recruitment exams being conducted by NRA. Also, the editorial says that this entire process of candidate selection must become a model which should raise the bar on speed, efficiency and integrity of such government recruitment tests. So this was all in the key points of the editorial. Now let us look at some key concepts. So in key concepts, let us look at Railway Recruitment Board, which is one of the agencies for which NRA will be conducting the preliminary exam. So RRBs was initially known as Railway Service Commission, but in January 1985, it was renamed as Railway Recruitment Board. And these are organizations under the Government of India that manage the appointment of new employees to work in Indian Railways. There are 21 boards situated in different parts of India, and each railway recruitment board consists of a chairman, member secretary or deputy secretary or an assistant secretary and non-gazetted staff. The other agency for which NRA will be conducting the preliminary exam is Staff Selection Commission, also known as SSC. So the Estimates Committee in the Parliament recommended the setting up of a Service Selection Commission in its 47th report in 1967-68 for conducting examinations to recruit lower categories of posts. And later the Government of India constituted a commission called the Subordinate Service Commission in November 1975. And in September 1977, the Subordinate Services Commission was renamed as Staff Selection Commission, which is the present name. And it is an organization to recruit staff for various posts in the various ministries and departments of the Government of India and in subordinate offices. And SSC serves as an attached office of the Department of Personnel and Training and comprises a chairman, 2 members and a secretary cum controller of examinations, who are appointed on such terms and conditions as may be prescribed by the central government from time to time. And its headquarters is at New Delhi. The third agency is Institute of Banking Personnel Selection, and IBPS is a recruitment body that was started with an aim to encourage the recruitment and placement of young graduates in public sector banks in India. And it also provides standardized systems for assessment and result processing services to organizations, and IBPS provides its services to all public sector banks, which includes SBI and its associates, RBI, NABARD, SIDBI, insurance companies, etc. And IBPS is governed by a board that includes nominees from the government organizations such as RBI, Ministry of Finance, Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, National Institute of Bank Management, Indian Banks Association and the public sector banks, etc. So this was all in the editorial analysis. Now let us look at what kind of questions can be asked in prelims and mains. So in prelims, the question can be directly on NRA and the common eligibility test features, such as it will recruit for non-gazetted posts, it will be online, conducted twice a year in 12 languages, though the aim is to extend it to all languages in the 8th schedule of the Constitution, which has 22 languages. And the 3 agencies for which it will be conducting the preliminary exam to begin with are Railway Recruitment Boards, SSC and IBPS. So all these can be asked in the form of a question. In mains, the question can be on the reforms done in government recruitment process. What are the pros, what are the cons, as in the advantages and disadvantages. Also, one should be clear about the present challenges and how the National Recruitment Agency will be able to address them. So this was all in today's editorial analysis. We'll see you next time with another editorial. Thank you.